Assalamu alaikum. I am Gayur Ahmed with yet another lesson of this series of lessons on punctuation. And the punctuation mark that we are going to discuss today is the colon. Dear friends, the colon is a punctuation mark consisting of two equally sized dots placed one above the other on the same vertical line. It is used chiefly to direct attention to matter such as a list, explanation, quotation, or amplification that follows. It also acts as the sign used between the parts of a numerical expression of time in Quranic or biblical and other bibliographic references in a ratio or a proportion, etc. Simply put, we can say that a colon is used to give emphasis, present a dialogue, introduce list or text, join ideas together, clarify composition titles, along with several other non-grammatical purposes. So friends, let's discuss the uses of colon. The colon has primarily three grammatical uses and several non-grammatical uses. Friends, let's first see the grammatical uses of the colon. The colon is used to give emphasis or to announce, introduce, or direct attention to a list, a noun phrase, a quotation, or an example or explanation. It can be thought of as a flashing arrow that points to the information that follows. Thus, it usually gives the silent impression of as follows, which is, which or these are, etc. Here are some examples. First, introducing list, series, text, or tabular material. Example number 1. The bookstore specializes in 4 subjects: art, architecture, graphic designs, and computer programming. Number 2. There are 3 types of muscles in the body: cardiac, smooth, and skeletal. And number 3. Our future depends on 3 things: sustainability, diversity, and enhancing our strength and health. Dear friends, in these examples, the colon, as already said, signals that a list of items already mentioned in the sentence follows. In the first example, it signals that we are going to know the names of the subjects that the bookstore specializes in, while in the second, it signals that we are about to learn about the 3 types of muscles in the body. In the third example, the colon signals that we are going to know the 3 things on which our future depends. Friends, we might silently read the sentences this way. The first sentence: the bookstore specializes in 4 subjects, and they are art, architecture, graphic designs, and computer programming. The second sentence: there are 3 types of muscles in the body, and they are cardiac, smooth, and skeletal. And number 3, our future depends on 3 things, and these are sustainability, diversity, and enhancing our strength and health. The colon in these examples refers to and they are and these are. Second, to introduce noun or noun phrase. For example, number 1, Majid said Sehrish, umbrellas are about one thing: dry fur. Number 2, Oh Sehrish, replied Majid, a similar object that protects against sun has another name altogether: parasol. The noun phrase dry fur in the first sentence and the noun parasol in the second are introduced by colons. Third, introducing a quotation. Example number 1. Shakespeare said it best: to thine own self be true. And number 2, He ended with the immortal words of Helen Keller, "Keep your face to the sunshine, and you cannot see a shadow." Here, the quotation is introduced by a colon and is kept within inverted commas. Fourth, introducing example or explanation. Many students discovered that there is a dark side to the academia, late nights, high stress, and a crippling addiction to the caffeinated beverages. Fifth, to separate titles from subtitles. Example number 1, Everest, the last frontier. Number 2, To be or not to be, a study of Shakespeare's Hamlet. And number 3, William Faulkner's A Rose for Emily, Northern Progress meets Southern Tradition. Sixth, giving emphasis. Example number 1, She had only one love, teaching. And number 2, after 3 weeks of deliberation, the jury finally reached a verdict, guilty. Here the words teaching in the first example and guilty in the second are to be emphasized and are preceded by colons. Use number 2, joining sentences or separating clauses. Dear friends, the colon is used to separate two independent clauses or connect two sentences when the second summarizes, sharpens, or explains the first. Both clauses or sentences should be complete and the content should be closely related. For example, number 1, life is like a puzzle. Half the fun is in trying to work it out. Number 2, a dolphin is not a fish. It is a warm-blooded mammal. And number 3, the research is conclusive. Climate change is a reality. Friends, as is evident, the two clauses in every example are complete thoughts in themselves and are closely related to each other. A colon is used to separate such independent clauses when the second clause is directly related to the first clause, not just vaguely related, and when the emphasis is on the second clause. Friends, while we can use a semicolon or a period between two independent clauses, the colon is a little softer than a period, but a little harder than a semicolon. Third use of the colon, with the dialogue. The colon is commonly used to introduce speech in a dialogue, such as a script. For example, Teacher, why did you use a colon here? Student, I thought it looked good. Teacher, but it is incorrect. Student, okay sir, I will delete it. Here the dialogue is between teacher and a student, and the speech is introduced by colons, and the speech is not kept within inverted commas. Friends, these were the grammatical uses of the colon. Now let us see the non-grammatical uses of the colon. First, as a sign between the parts of the numerical expression of time. For example, number 1, 4:25:15. 4:25:15 means 4 hours, 25 minutes and 15 seconds. Number 2, 8:15 a.m. 8:15 a.m. means 15 minutes past 8 in the morning. Second, in Quranic and biblical references, the colon is used to separate the chapter from the verse in Quranic, biblical and other sacred book references. For example, number 1, Quran 3:195. 3:195 means 195th verse of the 3rd chapter, Ali Imran of the Holy Quran. Number 2, Genesis 1:31. 1:31 means the 31st verse of the first chapter of the first book of the Hebrew Bible and the Christian Old Testament. Third, in other bibliographical references, the colon is used to separate the volume from the page number or some other information of a cited work. For example, number 1, punctuation quarterly, 4:86-89. This means from pages 86 to 89 of volume 4 of the Punctuation Quarterly Journal. Number 2, Kurlansky M. Salt, A World History, New York, NY, Walker & Co., 2002. In this reference, there is the name of the author first, last name first. The name of the author is Kurlansky M. Salt. Actually, his actual name is M. Salt Kurlansky. Then it is followed by the title of the book. Here it is A World History. Then the city. Here it is New York. Publisher, Walker & Co. And date of publication, actually year of publication here, 2002. Fourth, in correspondence. My dear friends, the colon is used after greetings, that is, salutations in formal or business letters. It can be used after the first name, both the first and the second names, or after the title. It is used if the letter is formal. In case of personal letters, either colon or comma can be used. For example, number 1, to whom it may concern, is followed by a colon. And number 2, dear Mr. Akash, and number 3, dear Professor Rashid Akbar, both have a colon. Number 4, CC, colon, CEO Kapwara, or BCC, colon, Principal Diet Kapwara. CC means send copy to. Actually, CC means carbon copy, and BCC means blind carbon copy. The difference between the two is that if the email, letter, etc. is CC'd, then the recipient can see all the other recipients, while if it is BCC'd, the recipient cannot see the other recipients. Number 5, attention, accounts payable. Attention is followed by a colon. And number 6, PS, postscript, colon, don't forget your swimsuit. Fifth, in mathematics. My dear friends, in mathematics, the colon is used in a number of different ways. A, to denote ratio or odds, as in 2:1, voiced or read as 2:1 or 2:1. Friends, the odds are the ratios that compare the number of ways the event can occur with the number of ways the event cannot occur. B, in proportion. A proportion is a statement where 2 or more ratios are equivalent. This is shown by a double colon. For example, 2:3, double colon, 4:6. This is voiced as 2:3 as 4:6, or 2:3 is the same as 4:6. Similarly, A:B, double colon, C:D, double colon, E:F. This is a continuous proportion. Part C, to mean such that in constructions like x such that x greater than 0. This represents the set of numbers x such that x is greater than 0. Part D, to give a name to a map. For example, f maps x into r. This means that f is a function that takes the value x to the value y. It is equivalent to the function notation f of x equals r. Part E, as part of the symbol A:=B, it means A is defined as B, or the number of elements in A and B must be the same. Part F, to delineate the three elements of the trilinear coordinates, that is x colon y colon z, x to y to z. Part G. To indicate an extension degree of an extension field k by f, that is k colon f or k to f. Part H. To denote colon product of two dyads. Friends, if AB and CD are dyads, then their colon product is defined by AB to CD. That means AB colon CD equals C dot AB dot D, which equals A dot C into B dot D. Friends, these were the uses of the colon. Now let us see some common colon mistakes. A colon should not separate a noun from its verb, a verb from its object or subject complement, a preposition from its object, or a subject from its predicate. For example, number 1, using a colon between a verb and its object or complement. For example, the very best peaches are those that are grown in the local orchards. Here the complement, those that are grown in the local orchards, of the verb are is separated from the verb by a colon, which is incorrect. To correct this, we simply have to remove the colon. Number 2, using a colon between a preposition and its object. For example, my favorite cake is made of carrots, flour, butter, eggs, and cream cheese icing. Here, the preposition of is separated from its object, carrots, flour, butter, eggs, and cream cheese icing, by a colon, which again is incorrect. And again, to correct this, we simply have to remove the colon. Number 3, using a colon after, such as, including, especially, and similar phrases. This violates the rule that the material preceding the colon must be a complete thought. Look, for example, at the following sentence. There are many different types of paper, including college ruled, wide ruled, and plain copy paper. Here, you can see that there are many different types of paper, including, is not a complete sentence, and therefore, colon cannot be used after it. The colon should simply be removed. Friends, now let us see how to check for mistakes. Ask yourself a question. Does the material preceding the colon stand on its own? One way to tell if the colon has been properly used is to look only at the words that come in front of the colon. Do they make a complete thought? If yes, use a colon. If not, then you may be using the colon improperly. That's all for today. In the next lesson, we will take up some other punctuation mark. Till then, it is goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.